Over the years, Bovet has become not only an artisanal watchmaker, but has moreover established itself as a powerhouse in manufacturing, becoming one of just a handful of Swiss watchmakers supplying specialized tools and regulating components like hairsprings to other watch brands. In this video, we get an exclusive tour of the Bovet manufacturer where we explore everything that goes behind the creation of each Bovet timepiece. This is where things start to slow down. You know, we don't have mass-produced watches. We have about 1,000 watches per year. Every single part is done with care, meticulous care. That's why we see so much of handcrafted watchmaking techniques. I'm excited. This is our first manufacturer visit. We have a lot to show you. Let's go. This is where the Bovet watches are not just designed but also manufactured, with over 95% of the manufacturing done in-house. This is an insane amount of development that happens for around 1,000 watches a year. All right, so this machine here, you see these bars. So these are metal bars that go through this machine, and then the engineers have to program the bars to create these tiny components. And what's insane is that because so many of the watches are bespoke, they have to reprogram this every time they need different types of screws or different parts. It takes about 24 hours sometimes just to create one small component. This is an electro-erosion process. So to create very small components like name initials that sit on a tourbillon cage, that's tiny. So that is done through here. And you can see some water pressure and you can see some sparks going on. So there's no physical touching or cutting. Some of these parts are so small that it's impossible to do it through a CNC machine. This is where the dials are produced partly, because what happens here is that the first layer of guilloching is done on this machine. These guys look like they're having fun. What's happening inside is the initial polishing of these small components. So again, it's called debris, and these are mixed at different ratios when you want to polish different types of screws, bridges. This is a really badass room. I'm holding a few small tools that are hand sculpted by Thierry to make other tools. Thierry is a genius. This is kind of his playground, and he's creating tools not just for Bovet, but these tools are also then used to create other tools and also provided to other manufacturers, other watch brands, and other industries like the aeronautical industry, the medical industry. Thierry has been doing this for over 30 years. And he's one of the few people here, and they keep telling us that we have another extra bench for interns because they want to start training more people to do this. Now, what is the purpose of all this? Why go through so much trouble? The reason is simple. Bovet creates such a small quantity of watches every year that it is impractical for them to go to other suppliers and order like 10 bridges, because so many of their watches are bespoke and they keep changing the design so often that they don't reuse the same screws and the same bridges and the same plates each time. And that's one of the reasons why they needed to manufacture everything in-house, around more than 95%, so that they have the freedom to create exactly what they want and how they want it.
We take the wire and we pull it through gauges to flatten it and to make it smaller. So, for example, when it starts at 0.60 millimeters, we pull it through all the way down to 0.000005 millimeters, or thinner than a human hair. Then it's made into 4 spirals together, and then they're separated and they're matched with the regulating organ. And that's what makes this special, because we can match it to the best regulating organ, whereas if we bought it from outside, we'd get it as a kit. So we get the spiral and the regulating organ, and we get whatever they gave us. But in this case, we can be specific for the timepiece, and it will function better.
Every watchmaker here assembles the movement from start to finish. Once the assembly is done, the movements are then sent to the castle, where they are cased and tested again before they are sent out to the market.
So this is the quality control department. Every piece, once they are done, every component, they come through here for the quality control, and then they are sent to the next step. And also when the movements are done, it is here that they control everything is correct. So you have some visual control, aesthetic control, technical control. Some are done with the machines and some are done with the eyes.
So this is where the movements are being quality controlled, and then later on they'll move to the castle.
Exactly.
And there the assembly will happen, and then after the assembly again they will be rechecked.
Controlled, exactly.
Okay.
And here we don't do batch control, we really control every component one by one.
Every Bovet watch tells a story of an artist, a watchmaker, and an engineer working in an orchestral harmony, allowed to take their time. And this level of dedication and passion for each timepiece is visually evident on both the front and the back, with no surface, no facet left untouched. We're going to be looking at 3 Bovet timepieces. Let's start with the Bovet's most exciting release of the year so far, with the Recital 30 World Time. This is the second chapter of the brand's take on a world timer, with the highly complicated Recital 28 Prowess we saw last year. That watch tackled a major challenge with the current day world timers, specifically the daylight savings time. And while that novelty was an impressive piece of engineering, it also came with an eye-watering price tag. This new Recital 30 World Time is a much more restrained version of the 28, removing the perpetual calendar and the flying tourbillon, but still based on the technical principles that make it one of the most practical world timers today. The world time function can be operated thanks to the R3071 automatic caliper, where the pushers at the 2 and 4 o'clock are used to adjust the time zones and the 24-hour world time on the dial. The pusher at 2 rotates each roller by 90 degrees, adjusting all 24 time zones as a result, whereas the pusher at 4 advances the central 24-hour world time disc by 1 hour with every click. Bovet is not a stranger to the world of high horology sports watches, but the Recital 12 certainly brings an elegant luxury sports watch feel to the table, as the brand's first bracelet watch, seamlessly integrating into the Dimir style case. Developed for over 2 years, the watch has been made to perfection, with the brushed and polished finishing having a brighter sheen to it that we don't usually find on titanium. Measuring 40mm in diameter with a slim height of just 9.8mm, sapphire crystal on both sides, and even featuring an on-the-fly micro adjustment allowing up to 3mm of adjustability. But besides the immaculate finishing and the organic case construction, what truly makes this watch high horology is the new slim in-house caliper developed for this watch. The malachite dial on the right displays the time, but honestly I'd just be admiring the inverted open-work caliper. With just 30 meters of water distance, this isn't exactly a sports watch, but is more than suitable for daily wear. We then look at arguably the most recognizable case format with the Florier Virtuoso 5. What makes this watch case unique is the patented Amadio convertible system that allows you to transform your watch into a pocket watch or a table clock. But personally, to me, the key feature is the fact that these watches are duo-faced, with time displayed on both sides, but in completely different formats. In this case, we have a Grey 5 titanium case with a brownish silver metallic linear brush dial, with jumping hours and retrograde minutes displayed. But turn the watch around and you see where the magic happens. An off-centered lacquered dial with the traditional hour and minute display, but this time with the open-work caliper on full display, featuring heat-blued screws, extensive Geneva striping and beveling on each bridge. And like the other high calibers that we've seen, this too is a powerhouse, providing 5 days of power reserve when fully wound. At 43.5mm case diameter and a bolt thickness of just under 16mm, this is definitely a statement piece. something that showcases the full force of Bovet's artisanal watchmaking. What's even more impressive is that both sides of the watch can be chosen to have a synchronized time display or can be set to display 2 different time zones through a corrector at the 2 o'clock, essentially becoming a very classy GMT watch. I've spent 2 days here, but it feels like a week because of the amount of information that I had to take in and absorb and process. It's one of the handful of brands, maybe one of the less than 10 brands in the world that produce so much of their watchmaking process in-house. To see just 3 to 4 engravers and 1 or 2 tool makers, there's no sense of, assembly line here. They don't follow conventional marketing strategies. The idea is that once you want a Bovet watch, you go through this experience when you have done everything else. You want an experience that's not really transactional. I'm just amazed at this brand. Huge thanks to Cortina Watch for making this manufacturer visit possible. They are an authorized retailer for Bovet watches in Asia and have more than 30 boutiques across the Asia-Pacific region. I'll leave their link in the description below, so please do check them out. And I also want to thank you guys for your continued support. Without you, this would not have been possible. Thank you so much as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.